Say what you like about 3DO as a successful video game company, one thing you have to admit about them is that they stuck to their guns, even their little plastic green ones. Similar to how the 3DO console was famous for no end of those cringeworthy interactive FMV titles that they kept putting out even though nobody was really buying them, the game development branch also sure liked to put out repetitive army men games. There were 4 on Game Boy Color, which is approximately 3 more than was needed, but that only represents a fraction of the endless swarms of them released across other consoles in that period between 1998 and 2010, and that's not even to mention Portal Runner, a spin-off featuring the same characters. I wouldn't mind the quantity necessarily, but the majority of games are incredibly similar to each other, so they become a bit of a redundancy. Storyline-wise, it's incredibly redundant, as either Sarge of the Green Army or his gun-toting maniac of a girlfriend Vicky, you need to go around shooting a bunch of the Tan Army soldiers during several missions to eventually get at the despot Plastro. A top-down shooter, this one. Despite each level having different objectives, you'll largely be doing the same things, trying to stand in places where you're able to hit the enemies but their idiotic AI won't let them hit you. You'll move on a bit, perhaps open a door or blow a gate to bits. A bit dramatic when you could just climb over them, but whatever. Every now and then you might have to take down a guard tower or destroy some vehicles, but everything basically revolves around you just pressing the shoot button a lot. You'll sometimes find some grenades or a slightly faster shooting weapon, but they're just variations on the theme. Yeah, let's have a word about the AI for a minute. It's really not well programmed, and while this does give you an advantage, as long as you don't rush forwards, it's not the most exciting thing to contend with. If an enemy soldier spots you, they'll mindlessly walk towards your character, shooting incessantly. Even if you're behind a wall, they're too dumb to try to navigate around the obstacle, and will just blast away, as if the indelible scenery is going to give way at some point. Even after you've died, they'll still fire at your corpse, which goes to show how the utmost basics were programmed in and little more. The level design is fairly bland. Every now and then you might ride an elevator to another floor, but it's more of the same. Stages are often elongated by forcing you to backtrack time and again to pick up a key or press a switch, walk over to the other side to press another switch, back again, and so on. Sometimes you'll press a color-coded switch to open a door, but on the way there'll be a bunch of enemies to take care of, by which time the doors shut again. Thankfully, things don't respawn on you, except in the odd location, else this would be even more annoying. Having said that, this isn't really a frustrating experience. Hell, it's barely an experience. Possibly the most irritating thing about the game is the sound design, which is comical and really does get irksome after a minute or two. No in-game music, which is sorely missed, and every time a bullet strikes you or an enemy, not when they die, but every shot that hits, mind, they'll let out this really over-the-top grunt, which is the same every time. The trick with these sound clips, if you're insisting on overusing them like this, is to record 3 or 4 takes that are similar but subtly different, and have them randomly alternate. A little thing, sure, but you'd be surprised what a difference it makes. It is rare that I want to play a video game on silent, as I kind of feel like you're missing something, and when recording for a YouTube video, I can't obviously, but man, you really want to turn the sound off here. There's a menu option to do so, which is redundant. There's that word again. I mean, the Game Boy has a volume switch already, can't you just use that? What was needed was an option to turn some music on to cover those cartoonish grunts up. Redundancy really is the theme with basically any Army Men game you choose to look at. All the stages here are basically the same. Play one and you've basically done them all. They're not massively different in difficulty either. There are the 2 characters to choose from, but aside from the pitch of their damage noises, they play identically. The paper-thin storyline could have come from literally any of the other ones. Graphically as well, it's quite disappointing. This isn't a massive improvement from the Game Boy Color titles. Thing is, it's hard to put your finger on any one thing Army Men Advance does massively wrong, apart from the sound of course, but even so, there's little here that is in any way impressive. Not atrocious, sure, but the dictionary definition of subpar.